The roast chicken was going cold, but no one seemed to notice. My mother, in her usual rehearsed cheer, poured wine into mismatched glasses while my father cut slices like he was doing it for an audience. Haley giggled too loud at something my uncle said. No one looked at me. That had become normal. Then it came. We were thinking, my dad said, between shoes, Haley could stay at your place for a while, just till she figures things out. Everyone laughed. My cousin actually clapped. My mother added. She's already been there a few days, hasn't she? Might as well make it official. She winked like she'd said something clever. I looked down the table at the empty chair that had been meant for me, still untouched. I hadn't been late. I just never planned to sit. I could feel it building in my chest, the weight of every moment they brushed me aside. Every conversation I wasn't invited to, every time Haley was given the benefit of the doubt while I was told to be the bigger person. I stood up slowly, tapped my fingers on the table. Everyone went quiet. Funny thing, I said, letting the silence stretch. I haven't even been living there for weeks. Laughter froze mid-smile. My aunt's fork slipped and clanged against her plate. Mom blinked. Wait, what? I looked at her. Finally, really looked at her the way a stranger does when they realize they've walked into the wrong house. She tilted her head, eyes narrowing. Where have you been staying? I smiled. Not wide, just enough to let her know I wasn't playing anymore. And just like that, the entire room, their wine, their laughter, their little decisions made without me blurred out. I had disappeared 6 weeks ago, and not a single one of them had noticed. But now they would, and they'd remember this moment for the rest of their lives, because what came next would rewrite everything they thought they knew about me. Everything. 6 weeks earlier, my apartment had been a quiet place. Neutral walls, dim lighting. That kind of peace you fight years to build. Then came Haley, crying outside my door at midnight with mascara smeared down her cheeks and 3 bags in her arms. Travis cheated on me. She sniffled like it was a surprise. I just need a few days, Caleb. Just to breathe. I let her in. Of course I did. That's what you do when you're the older brother, the responsible one, the predictable one. By day 2, she'd taken over my bedroom and turned the living room into her therapy circle. Her friends came and went like it was a sorority house, glasses left on counters, makeup on the bathroom sink. I started sleeping on the couch. By week 1, she was throwing full-blown parties. I had a critical Zoom pitch that Friday, one that could have gotten me the lead tech role on a project I'd been chasing for 6 months. I asked her to keep the noise down. She promised she would. Instead, I logged into my meeting to the sound of Cardi B blasting from the kitchen and someone yelling body shots behind me. My camera froze on a frame of me with my head in my hands. I lost the contract. That night, I pulled her aside, tried to speak calmly. Haley, this isn't working. I need you to find somewhere else. She didn't even look up from her phone. God, you're always so dramatic. I lost everything and you're crying about your little tech stuff. I stared at her. You cost me a $20,000 contract. She rolled her eyes. Well, maybe they didn't want a guy who couldn't control his own house. That's when I knew, not just who she was, but what she thought of me. I called our parents. Dad sighed. She's going through a lot, Caleb. You have to be more compassionate. Mom, she's your sister. That was it. No defense. No pause to ask if I was okay. Just deal with it. I packed a single bag that night. Wallet, laptop, charger. I walked out. No one followed. No one called. No one noticed. And Haley, she moved right in. Like she owned the place. I didn't go far. A buddy of mine, Jeremy, had a couch and no questions. That's all I needed. But in those 6 weeks, something strange happened. No calls, no texts, not even a where have you been from my parents, not a passive-aggressive emoji from Mom, not a single missed call blinking on my screen. Silence. And it didn't hurt. Not the way it should have. It confirmed what I already knew. Growing up, I was always the footnote in my own family. Haley was the bright one, the star, the drama, the storm. I was the silence between scenes, the one told to understand, to wait, to not make a fuss. She got caught shoplifting in high school. Dad blamed the store for mislabeling tags. I got A+ in calculus and was told I needed to apply myself harder. By 18, I'd left home, paid for community college with 2 part-time jobs. Ate instant noodles until I got my first coding gig. By 25, I had a small apartment, a modest savings account, and no one clapping for me at graduation. They missed that, too. I had built everything with my own hands in silence without applause. So when 6 weeks passed and no one noticed I was gone. Not Haley, not my mother, not even my father. It didn't crush me. It woke something up. They were too used to my silence. They thought it meant weakness. But silence can also be a blade. And I'd been sharpening mine for years. I realized I didn't need to scream to be heard. I just needed to be deliberate, strategic. If Haley wanted to pretend she owned my life, let her. If my parents wanted to defend her, let them. They thought I was invisible. Good. Let them keep laughing. I was going to expose every threat of their comfort quietly, cleanly. And when I returned, it wouldn't be with noise. It would be with consequences. The day after I walked out, I went back once, just once, not to confront Haley. I didn't say a word to her. She wasn't home. Her pink sneakers were by the door, her perfume still hanging in the air. It smelled like lies. I walked through my own apartment like a stranger. Clothes missing, my gaming console gone, my office desk pushed into the hallway to make space for a ring light and some stupid backdrop that read Haley's house vibes. Before I left, I placed a small motion detecting camera behind the bookshelf, pointed at the living room. It activated automatically when movement or sound hit a certain level. Then I walked out for the last time. Next stop was my landlord's office. I handed over a termination request. "You breaking your lease early?" he asked, confused. I nodded. "The unit's been occupied without my consent. I have evidence." 3 days later, I downloaded the first batch of footage. What I saw made my stomach turn. Haley hosting parties. Strangers drinking from my coffee mugs. Someone wearing my hoodie like it was theirs. My diploma on the floor stepped on. But it got worse. She was selling my things. I watched her take photos of my guitar, my gaming monitor, my designer headphones, things I'd saved months for, and list them on some app. One guy picked them up in cash. She laughed as she handed him the monitor. And then came the kicker, a clip of her forging my signature on a complaint to the HOA about noise from a neighbor. My name, my handwriting. I compiled everything. Sent it all timestamped to the landlord. A week later, I got an email back. Haley had been notified. She was to vacate immediately. No legal right. No more Haley's house vibes. That same night, my phone lit up, her name flashing, then Mom, then Dad. I watched them call again and again. I didn't answer. I just blocked them all. Every number, every account. The only voice they'd hear from me now was the one that came with proof. And silence. "Where have you been staying?" My mother asked again, her voice tight like she already knew she wouldn't like the answer. I took my time looking around the table. The roast chicken was now half eaten. The wine half drunk. The laughter had evaporated, replaced with stares. "I've been staying," I said, slowly, sliding my hands into my pockets at peace. "Something I never found here." My father set his fork down. "What's that supposed to mean?" I tilted my head. "Exactly what it sounds like." Mom leaned forward. "You disappeared. You didn't tell anyone where you were going. That's not fair to us." "Fair?" I laughed. A dry single chuckle. "You all decided Haley would stay with me while she was already in my apartment without my consent. Meanwhile, not one of you noticed I wasn't even living there." My uncle looked confused. "Wait, you weren't?" I locked eyes with Haley. Her smile had vanished. She knew what was coming. "You moved in, trashed my place through parties, sold my things. You even forged my name on a complaint. And none of you even noticed I was gone for 6 weeks." My father's face flushed. "You're being ridiculous." I reached into my coat pocket and tossed a sealed envelope onto the table. "What's this?" my mother asked. "Footage, photos, signatures, screenshots, all dated. All from the last month sent to my landlord. That's why Haley got kicked out." Haley's eyes widened. "You snitched." "No," I said, leveling my voice. "I protected what I built. You treated my life like it was disposable, like I was just the guy who happened to pay the bills." They stared dumbfounded. "I was gone," I repeated slower this time. "And not a single one of you noticed." My mother tried again. "We didn't know." "That's the point," I cut in. "You never did. You never cared to." I turned to walk toward the door. Behind me, silence hung heavy like smoke after something's burned down. I paused at the threshold. This family only checks in when they want something. This dinner, it was never about seeing me. It was about cleaning up Haley's mess. I opened the door and left them choking on a silence they couldn't ignore anymore. Haley was evicted 2 days after the dinner. The landlord didn't care how many tears she faked or who she claimed to be. He had the footage, the forged documents, the unauthorized occupation. She was out before the weekend. She didn't go quietly. First came the text, paragraphs of rage, all caps accusations. You ruined my life and you're so petty. I ignored them. Then came the voicemails, half crying, half screaming, threatening to tell the family everything about me, whatever that meant. I didn't flinch. I filed a police report for the missing items. The monitor, the guitar, my grandmother's watch, all documented and backed by footage. I also sent it to my renters' insurance. They opened a claim within 48 hours. Haley's full name was now attached to an active investigation. I didn't do it to destroy her. I did it to draw the line. The one she had crossed too many times and the ripple effect. Swift. She'd recently started working part-time at a boutique downtown. They caught wind of the incident. Someone sent them a tip, probably from the landlord's office. 2 days later, she was let go. Her curated Instagram, once filled with brunches and girl boss captions, went dark. Comments vanished. Followers dropped. Her online persona cracked under the weight of her real actions. Mom called me one night, left a voicemail. Her voice low, tight with disappointment. She's your sister, Caleb. You've always been the responsible one. Can't you just fix this quietly? I didn't respond. Instead, I texted her a screenshot. It was from Haley's group chat. She'd sent it to a friend the week she moved into my place. Ayo, he's such a loser. Doesn't even know I basically own his apartment now. Whatever. He'll probably thank me for giving it some life. I followed it with one line. This is who you protected. Mom didn't reply. For the first time, my silence wasn't weakness. It was clarity. Seattle was quiet in a way that didn't hurt. It had that slow kind of rain that softened the world. I liked it here. I was working in an AI startup, pulling long hours that actually felt worth it. $140,000 a year, a top-floor apartment with tall windows, and a fridge I actually had time to stock. For once, my life felt like mine. No one knew me as Haley's brother or the quiet one. Here I was just Caleb Monroe, the guy who built things and meant what he said. I had a circle now. Real friends who showed up for birthdays, for game nights, for nothing at all. Peace wasn't just a location. It was this version of me, the one they'd never bothered to see. Then the call came. Was my father. His voice cracked around the edges. Your mother's not doing well. You should come back. I didn't ask questions. I bought a ticket. Not because I missed them, but because I needed to see her one last time before I closed that chapter for good. When I walked into the house, it was like nothing had changed. The same photos on the wall, the same chipped paint in the hallway. And Haley was there sitting on the couch eating chips, watching reality TV like she hadn't stolen a year of my life. She looked up, gave me that same syrupy smile. Hey, stranger, she said like we were friends. I looked past her to the hallway where Mom was resting. She was thinner, pale. I stood there, hands in my pockets. Haley laughed nervously. Aren't you going to come say hi? I stepped back instead. No, I said quietly. I already said everything I needed to. Her face twisted. You're still holding a grudge. Grow up, Caleb. I turned to my father, who hadn't spoken since I arrived. Tell her I said goodbye, I said, then paused. For real this time? And I walked out because closure isn't a conversation. Sometimes it's just a closed door you never open again. The letter wasn't angry. It wasn't sharp. It was calm, measured, folded with the same hands they used to reach out for their approval and never got it. I mailed it without a return address. It began simply. Dear Mom and Dad, for years I begged for respect. Quietly, patiently, I let my voice be drowned by Haley's chaos, by your excuses. By the way, you only saw me when I could be useful. You told me to be the bigger person so many times I started believing being small was my purpose. You chose noise over peace, drama over discipline, applause for the storm while ignoring the steady shelter. When Haley lied, you defended. When I broke, you asked me to hold it together. I was never your favorite, just your fallback. But now I choose myself. I paused writing there, let the pen rest, then continued. I'm not bitter. I'm done. This isn't punishment. It's preservation. I'm building a life where I'm not an afterthought. Where my value doesn't need to scream to be seen. You may never understand. That's okay. Understanding isn't required for me to be free. I wish you healing, but I won't be part of the mess anymore. Don't look for me at the next dinner. This time, my seat at the table is mine, and it's full. Caleb ***. No signature flourish, just truth. That evening, I sat by the wide glass windows of my Seattle apartment. The kind that let in silence without making you feel alone. Outside, soft snow began to fall, dusting the street lights and making the whole city blur gently. I sipped tea, read a book I hadn't finished in months. No phone buzzing, no guilt twisting in my chest, just warmth, stillness. In the reflection on the window, I saw myself. Not the invisible sun, not the backup plan, just a man who had finally stepped into his own.